Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Sayyidina wa Nabiyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. The presentation we have this morning pertains to the need for an enabling act to govern the halal sector. First, let us look at Islamic law as a whole in order to know further the need for a law that will govern the halal sector. You have to take note that Islamic law is oftentimes translated either as Sharia or fiqh, but you have to distinguish between Sharia and fiqh, because Sharia refers to the totality of Allah's commandments to man, and therefore it is divine law. It is perfect, eternal, and unalterable. We have, as human beings, nothing to see with the Sharia, because Sharia is Allah's prerogative. On the other hand, the human interpretation of the law is fiqh, and this is the human understanding of the law, and because it is human, it is imperfect, it is not eternal, it is alterable. The Islamic law has several characteristics, and these are some of the characteristics. There are first, Islamic law establishes general rules. For example, you will note, for example, in the Quran, that rules are in general terms. And so, if they are in general terms, if there is need for interpretation, for discussion, then that is what we are allowed to discuss. Islamic law also were directly meant to deal with actual events. And third, as a rule, everything that is not prohibited is permissible. And then fourth, some injunctions or prohibitions were revealed in a gradual way. This afternoon we will be dealing with the financial aspect of halal, among which, for example, pertains to riba. And we will note that riba was prohibited in a gradual manner. Then fifth, pressing necessity makes a thing prohibited permissible. Among the general rules of the Sharia is that a thing, if it is not by reason of necessity, while prohibited, may be permissible. Ad-darura tubihul mahdurat. Then finally, anything of value may be adopted for as long as it does not contradict the text of the glorious Quran or the Sunnah of the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now let us look at Philippine laws and see how we can justify the legislation of halal. There are several provisions of the Constitution which can give us the justification to legislate on halal. In Article 2, Section 5 of the Constitution, this pertains to state policies and principles. There it is provided, the maintenance of peace and order, the protection of life, liberty, and property, and the promotion of the general welfare are essential for the enjoyment by all the people of the blessings of democracy. The one in red speaks of a justification that we can use in legislating halal under the Philippine democratic system. So the provision stating that it is required that there should be promotion of the general welfare, which is essential for the enjoyment of the blessings of democracy, can be a basic justification for legislating halal. In Article 2, Section 9, the state shall promote a just and dynamic social order that will ensure the prosperity and independence of the nation and free the people from poverty through policies that provide adequate social services, promote full employment, a rising standard of living, and an improved quality of life for all. This again can be a justification for halal legislation. In Article 2, Section 10, the state shall promote social justice in all phases of national development. For Muslims, it is but just and necessary that halal should be promoted, because this can be part of developing the nation. In Article 2, Section 11, the state values the dignity of every human person and guarantees full respect for human rights. For Muslims, ensuring halal for their life is actually giving them the full aspect of their human rights. Because halal is not only a religious duty for Muslims, it is a way of life. It is part of being a Muslim to live in a halal manner. And Article 2, Section 15, the state shall protect and promote the rights to health of the people and instill health consciousness among them. Right to health is part of the requirements to the state, and therefore having halal, living a halal way is part of protecting our health. Article 2, Section 16, the state shall protect and advance the right of people to a balanced and healthful ecology in accord with the rhythm and harmony of nature. Again, this can be justification for halal. Article 2, Section 22, the state recognizes and promotes the rights of indigenous cultural communities within the framework of national unity and development. If the Muslims are considered cultural communities, then their rights should be promoted. And promotion of halal through legislation is a way of giving meaning to this provision of the Constitution. Article 2, Section 27, the state shall maintain honesty and integrity in the public service and take positive and effective measures against graft and corruption. Halal is not only concerned with food or non-food product, it is also concerned with halal trade, with halal way of earning an income. Because when you speak of halal, it is not only the food is halal by itself or halal lidatihi, but also halal it is both with halal earning, and this can be gleaned from Article 2, Section 27 of the Constitution, the reference to maintaining honesty and integrity in the public service. Then in Article 12, Section 1, National Economy and Patrimony, in paragraph 2 of this article, it states, the state shall promote industrialization and full employment based on sound agricultural development and agrarian reform through industries that make full and efficient use of human and natural resources and which are competitive in both domestic and foreign markets. However, the state shall protect Filipino enterprises against unfair foreign competition and trade practices. You have to take note that development of the halal industry would make the Philippines competitive both in the domestic and in foreign markets. So therefore, this can be a justification for halal legislation. In Article 13, Section 1 on social justice and human rights, it is stated, the Congress shall give highest priority to the enactment of measures that protect and enhance the right of all people to human dignity, reduce social, economic, and political inequalities, and remove cultural inequities by equitably diffusing wealth and political power for the common good. The enhancement of the right of all people to human dignity, reduction of social, economic, and political inequalities can be a justification for halal legislation. Article 13, Section 12 on health, it is stated, the state shall establish and maintain an effective food and drug regulatory system and undertake appropriate health manpower development and research responsive to the country's health needs and problems. Again, another justification for halal legislation. In Article 13, Section 17 on arts and culture, the Constitution states, the state shall recognize, respect, and protect the rights of indigenous cultural communities